SUPERTRAP is still flying under the mainstream radar, which is wild considering how freaking cool it is. In this video, I'll explain how to make cool SUPERTRAP beats from scratch. Start with a BPM ranging from 90 to 140 and make a melody. Try combining pads with unique textures and different frequency ranges. As for the chord progression, wait, what? It's really complicated most of the time. You need to put a lot of effort into learning all the scales, chord extensions, playing different instruments. Now I will layer it a few times to build an atmospheric ambience. Nah, I'm just playing, but it's still really simple. By slightly modifying each of the patterns, we can create a more interesting melody overall. For my piano, I've created a random ARP melody using the notes I showed earlier and added bass notes. I created a bit of variation with a G sharp and G in the middle. For the first pad, I just deleted some notes and added some on top for the second and mouth bar for the second pad. I've just made this pattern. Basically put random notes in the scale again and pitch the second and fourth bar up. It's a good way to create more variation. Yet another pad, same thing again, just pitch something up. And yet another pad. This one is just adding a little rhythm. This is how they all sound combined. Now, let's add some effects for the piano. I've added an OTT mixed at 70% with upward and downward turned to around 60%. Valhalla shimmer with default settings. Reverb and an EQ cutting out lows and high, leaving only mid frequencies. Routed all the other sounds to an empty mixer track, creating a melody bus. I cut all the low end, added Portal with the default preset, and turned it mix down, and Grow Speed with this one beat gate preset mixed to around 25%. After that, I split the pattern by right-clicking on the pattern and pressing S on my keyboard. After selecting first and last pattern, while holding Shift and dragging into the playlist, I just created a customizable melody for my export. I have one part with the piano bass notes, then one without them, and one without the bass, and also without some melody parts. Now, I'll export my melodies and flip them. Now, I will cut it up into segments. Change the mode from Resample to Stretch Pro, and I'll change the BPM from 130 to 120, and I will turn down the format knob for an interesting effect. I'll also pitch it down by one semitone. I'll route my melody to an empty mixer track by pressing Ctrl plus L, and I'll add some effects. First one is a free plugin, Cymatics Dark Sky, which basically works like Crystallizer. I'll leave it on the default preset and just turn down the mix knob. After that, I'll add Portal on the default preset once again and turn down the mix to around 50%. This is the before and after. I'll add some drums on top, starting with a clap. I'm doing it consciously, trying to figure out a cool drum bounce. I really don't like putting my claps on 2 and 4, since it's incredibly generic. But if I do, I always change them to 2 different sounds. I mean, just experiment with it. I'll add another clap just for bounce. I'll also add some simple hi-hats, nothing too crazy for now. If your hi-hats sound generic and boring, try not starting with a 2-step. Instead, start from scratch and build up a 4-bar pattern. Be mindful about your hi-hat rolls. Always change the velocity by right-clicking so they either go up or down. Now I'll add an accent hi-hat. I don't really know what to call it. I've just put some perky sounding hi-hats in my drum kit and I use them for extra bounce. I'll put some of them in the description because my kit isn't ready yet, but here's how they sound. Once again, I'm being mindful about where I put them. I don't just spam them everywhere. They gotta fit in. Always experiment with velocities and weird placements. Remember that the piano roll grid is only a guideline. You can place notes outside of it by holding Alt. create a perch or any pattern that's 1 or 2 bars and you want to duplicate it, it wouldn't really be a problem. But if you have a few of them, it will be time consuming. So instead, right-click on your pattern and press S to split it. Then select all your patterns by holding Shift and clicking the first and the last one and drag them into your arrangement. Then press Ctrl B to duplicate it as many times as you want. And then select all of them by pressing Ctrl and left mouse button and press Ctrl plus G, which will group them all back together. After that, you can select all patterns, which are currently useless, right-click on them and click Delete. After that, I'll put in some open hats for texture. Not to really open hat, if you know what I mean. This is how all of that sounds together. Now is finally the time for some 808s. Find a long, soft, subby 808 with a lot of overtones, so all of the perfect fifths, fourths, sevenths, etc. It gotta have some high end to it, you know? Make a pattern with some slides, pauses, etc. It's gonna sound something like... Don't forget to set the envelope on your 808s so they don't clash with each other. Only if you have my Etherfield drum kit, you can forget about it, as all of my 400 plus 808s come in pre-shaped, so no envelope tweaking needed. You just drag and drop them, and they work. Get yours on olgsmo.com April 1st. Now, I'll cut some parts of my bass line with Ctrl plus X and paste them into different 808s for some variety in a call and response effect. And as much as you can, don't blindly follow any tutorial, even this one. If you've got an idea, do it. Only if you don't, should you copy and implement other people's ideas. Now that I've finished the 808s, I'll add a kick that will sidechain the 808s. My kick pattern always follows the 808s, so pretty much I place it where I hear the volume duck in the near future. If you don't know how to sidechain, you do that by routing your 808s and basses to a bus, and also routing your kick. With the kick selected, you right-click on this little knob down here in our bass bus, and you select sidechain to this track. With that done, you just need to go to the bass bus and open a fruity limiter. Here, you change the option from limit to compression. Right-click here under sidechain and select your kick. With that done, just copy my sidechain settings, which are these 6 knobs here, and you're good to go. If you don't know if it's worth it, here's the before and after. You can decide for yourself now. Now I'll add some perks and a hard bell. The beat is nearly finished. It just needs some finishing touches. Let's start by changing a few things in the arrangement. I personally like to leave small gaps in certain spots where I know I'll later add transitions. Speaking of transitions, let's throw some in. As for the mix, I level my sounds, trying to achieve a good balance. And if I didn't have my kit, which already has all the low end cut out of every drum and sound that doesn't need it, I would definitely do that. As for the master, I have 2 soft clippers, the bottom one on default settings, and the top one with post set to like 83%. I also have an EQ, which boosts the highs and lows while lowering those muddy 100 to 200 hertz frequencies, and some 1 to 2K because artist vocals sit here. As the last thing on my master track, I have an OTT with depth set to 20% and upward and downward set to 50%. This master chain is actually coded. Here's the before and after. And that's it. If you've learned something, say something nice in the comments. If not, tell me what could I do better. Or just tell me to kill myself. Here's the final beat.